friendly gloves.
Yes.
I respect that.
I do. And here we are, Ill Street Grooves with LP, the great illustrious, formerly of Company Flow, and Killer Mike, formerly of Killer Mike. No, I'm just kidding. Currently of Killer Mike.
Either I'm not great.
Grind Time Official. Yeah. Oh, you are illustrious. Come on.
Well,
Yeah. So, cool. This question could go to either one of you. Run the Jewels has allowed fans to download your music for free, while also offering numerous packages for fans to purchase. As traditional record sales continue to decline, but the cost of living continues to increase in the cities where most musicians live, what do you see as the future revenue streams for professional musicians such as yourself?
Well, I don't know 100% what's going to apply to everybody, but I think that we're in a position where we're examining a different type of revenue stream. We're like you said, we gave our record away for free. We're in a position where we could do that and have a career around that. We're very lucky to be able to actively tour, and we do really well on the road. And we have a lot of merch, and we make the product that we sell, which we do sell the record as well. We make it as beautiful as we possibly can, so that people really want to collect it. And it's working for us, and at the same time, I don't know, because I wonder about that sometimes myself. Because look, the fact of the matter is that we are healthy and young enough to be able to tour 200 days a year.
Right.
But music is music, and you should be able to make you want people to be able to make a living off of it, even if, let's say, for instance, they weren't physically able to go on tour.
Right.
You know, a genius musician who wants to share his music with the world is out there somewhere, who's not going to be able to make any money off of it yet. Because they're not going to have a career. They're just a musician, you know, and they're not going to be able to travel because maybe they just can't. It doesn't make sense. Right. So I don't know. I wonder about it, but I do know that the old way has changed, and I do know that we're involved. From our perspective, in the way that we're doing business, we're involved in a new model that we have essentially carved out for us. And it's something that I believe in, and it's basically just getting to the supporter as directly as possible, and creating a relationship between you and them that isn't about the old model of trying to market a record to you, and of trying to deal with that whole first week sales and and all of that shit that everyone gets caught up in. That's not what we're doing, and we're marketing it, of course. We're doing videos and we're doing, but I'm just talking about that sort of cynical relationship that doesn't make any sense anymore, because there's really not even that much money in it.
Right.
So everyone's running around trying to still do it. But again, my whole point being is that that's just for us. That works for us because of where we're at in our career, and the connections and people around us that we have collected throughout the years, and the understanding of the business and how it works for us. It's not applicable to everybody, but it's definitely worth.
Man too.
It works for a lot of people, and it's definitely worth investigating. You know what I mean? Like,
and want to think about it.
We're definitely not inventing it, but I think that we're executing it in a pretty good way. I'm proud of the way that we're doing it.
Absolutely.
And we're not businessmen at heart. We're just trying to make rap records, and we're trying to tour, and we're trying to perform.
Al said earlier, it's really a relationship with the artist, with the audience too. It's an onset agreement that I want to give you the music, because I know you can get the music anyway. So let's take the presumption that I'm going to act like you're not getting the music.
Right. And
let's just say, as a part of the deal, I need you to say, hey, if you like the music, come experience the music live. And they come experience the music live. They buy merchandise. They get cool stuff. Some of the stuff becomes collectible because we only make it in certain numbers, and it's a cool relationship to be in. And I think that in order to be artists that say what you want to say, that tell the story how you see it, and that value the freedom that we have, that is the relationship you have. That doesn't have to be for everybody else.
And it confirms our most romantic hopes about what the relationship is.
Exactly.
Seeing it work is a confirmation of a romantic perspective, which is this sort of idea. It's very hopeful. Like, hey, if I make something that really moves you, then this will work for us, you know.
Right.
And so we work on that. That's what we concentrate on, and it's all emanating from that. And I'm very glad to be proven right, that my suspicions that was what people wanted, just to be involved in the choice or just a different relationship, with the artists, that's what I think everyone is crying out for and has been for a long time, is a different relationship with the people that they're supporting.
Right.
And so being involved in that has been very fulfilling for us, because we've been able to cut out a lot of the middleman and a lot of the stress and bullshit that you would normally think about in a different situation. And so we're lucky to have that be working for us,
Yeah, man, there's so many ways I could segue into later questions, but I want to be disciplined, and I want to keep it in the order. This is almost the 20th anniversary of the Source Awards, where Outkast was booed for winning, and they replied, "The South has something to say." Mike, do you think what is being heard from Southern artists today represent, or I actually said on the radio now, represents what the South has to say, or are there other voices and perspectives out there that need more exposure?
Of course, there are other voices that need more exposure,
Right.
and of course, the people on the radio are saying what the South has to say.
Right.
Atlanta redefines music every 2.5 years. Every 2.5 years, whatever style you presume you hate or you love dies, and a new thing grows out of it. That's very hip hop to me. Now,
Okay.
the oversaturation of that style and the 8 other groups that emulate that, that's not hip hop. That's some shit called biting.
Right.
But the fact that these styles are evolving is pretty amazing,
Right.
Something will sustain, something won't sustain. But in terms of the other voices that are in Atlanta, there's a real renaissance happening in Atlanta right now. So rather than waste time complaining or pitching that it's all equal, I'm just going to tell you, if you don't like what's in Atlanta and on Atlanta radio right now, there's some cool shit in this city happening with 2 artists. One's called Scotty ATL and the other guy's called Ra Ra, and they literally, had the Dungeon family kept doing what it was doing 95, 96, I feel like this is what shit would have grew into in Atlanta. Right. If the Goody Mob hadn't broke up for a while, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
If ATLians became the bedrock for a sound and Outkast hadn't liberated, you know what I'm saying? Like, this shit would have been like this shit they doing. It's some amazing shit, and y'all should check it out.
Is that the brother with the God's Whisper song?
Ra Ra, I'm gonna tell you, listen to these. Listen to Frustrated Young Man by Ra Ra. I'm featured on that record.
Okay.
And by Scotty ATL, he just dropped one called Spaghetti Junction. Just get that out.
Okay.
You're gonna love it.
Okay, cool. All right, I saw you said Gucci Mane. That just keyed off something in my mind. Yeah, absolutely. I just want to say, Southern rap has been renowned for independent music.
Absolutely.
Like pretty much from day one, even all the way to today.
Yeah,
you had Grind Time Official. I'm gonna go ahead and skip ahead. What was the difference you experienced? Basically, no. The question I had was, after you did Grind Time Official on your own, did that give you a different perspective or outlook on your relationship with Big Boy when he was running Purple Ribbon?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I forgave all sins, real and perceived.
Right.
Because man, it's just much easier for you to be responsible for yourself and do that. And I've had conversations with Stax, man, and Stax has just said, even though he did what he did, he left, and we were all very hurt by that. He said, man, just how much he respects and commends Big Boy for staying and for essentially sacrificing, good name and reputation, for being willing to fall on the sword, because he knew he had a group of artists who had said expectations, said and unsaid expectations. And after I got out and I began to have to look around and be responsible for people moving as a little independent unit, you going to sleep, you thinking about these people, you waking up. And my thing was a microcosm of what Elle experienced with Def Jux. I think I'm so much more confident right now in being only responsible for Michael and LP.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, and whatever little cottage industry real building, because man, it's a lot of shit that comes with that, where you get a lot of the blame and you never get the congratulatories you deserve. Like, man, Big Boy stayed and endured through a lot of shit. He's a big part of the reason anybody even gives a shit about the Outkast brand to go see it.
Right.
Again, because for years he was the only thing that was a reminder on the tour circuit that this was here. They'll forget, bruh.
Right.
You know what I mean? I'll say EPMD to a kid that's under 22 and they won't know what the fuck I'm talking about. And that's shameful, that's wrong. So had Big Boy not, and once I realized it was more of that and less of what I felt like in those situations, It's just forgiveness. Like, I love the fuck out of them, bro. And you know what I'm saying? Again, sins that were real and perceived don't even matter. You know what I'm saying? Because my path had to be for me to be here. And if you look at who he picked one half of the dopest duo in the game right now. He picked what I feel like is the biggest rising R&B star in the game with Janelle Monáe. Like,
absolutely,
he knew what the fuck he was doing.
Yeah, absolutely. That great segue when you mentioned Definitive Jux. You had an incredible run with Definitive Jux. Just like on the independent level, particularly in New York in recent history, unprecedented. That's a complicated question. Like, I guess, what made you decide to no longer release your music through Definitive Jux? I mean, it's one thing not being able to bring everyone else with you, but your own music now is no longer on Definitive Jux. Any complicated?
Man. It's just a name. I mean, at that point, I had the decision to shutter the label was made, and I believe that you need to I needed to not be on Def Jux. I needed to close that chapter. That's all, man. It's that simple. It was over. Def Jux was one thing, and it was great for a long time, and I definitely believed in it, and I had a very rich experience being a part of that. But it was over. Okay. And I believe I believe it was the right thing to do, and I believe in moving on. And for me, it was a chapter in my life and a lot of people's lives. A lot of people worked really hard to make that thing happen, okay. And there were a lot of wins and there were a lot of losses as well. But that phase of my life and what I'm doing it's then.
Yeah, hey, I mean, time moves on.
Yeah, I'm just now, honestly, I'm not even interested in, I wouldn't, if someone gave me $5 million right now, I wouldn't start a record label. Wow. It has nothing to do with bitterness or anything. It's like, that's not what I'm into right now. I'm into this music shit, And I knew that I wanted to just get right back into music. And all of the label shit, no, it's hard to run a label. Sure, it's hard to run a label for everyone.
Right.
But at the end of the day, really, for me, I was on the path of I had a lot of music in me that I wanted to do, and I needed to be able to take that back and do that, and that wasn't going to be possible doing Def Jux.
Yeah, understandable. Mike, will you release any future music through Grind Time Official related to that? And what was the difference in your experience as a label owner as compared to being a major label artist?
Probably will not.
Okay.
I tried my best. I did a damn good job. I left a real impression, but it's all about this Run the Jewels shit, man. And
okay.
That's what it is. And you're gonna hear Killer Mike shit. He drops freestyles, EPs. I might do some cool shit, but we still got to do an Elegant Elephant, still got to do a Pledge, still got to do rap music too, still got a lot of work ahead of me, but you don't ungrease no track that's going. This is what we doing. This is what this shit is about. This is what the universe then told me to move on. So this is all my ideas working. It's just a different name. The spirit of Grind Time is there, right out there in the audience. Kid, throw it up. I throw it up back. It's always triple bang gang. But with that said, man, I've progressed. And I'm glad that the foundation of Pledge 1, 2, and 3 got me here. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. And
I'm gonna keep the spirit and pushing in that. But you can't revive something that's had its time and keep dragging it. Like, you go with what's easy, what makes the most sense. Stay fluid. You know what I mean? That's all.
Forgive me for asking all the historical questions. I just, I just feel like, context-wise, there may be people who hear the Run the Jewels album and don't even know about, what happened before.
So hell yeah, they don't know what the fuck none of that shit means.
And I don't know if that's not even to put a value judgment on whoever doesn't know or whatever. They just don't.
No,
but
they just weren't listening. They just didn't know.
Hey, you
about
asked some interesting questions.
I'm just trying to put it in perspective for people. And there's some questions I always want to ask, like this one. LPL, is there any reason why there was never more or much collaboration between you and the other two flagship Rawkus artists, Mos Def and Talib Kweli?
Nah, there was no reason, and I've been friends with those guys for years. Those are I have a lot of respect for those dudes. Mos and we toured with them back in the day. This is No, there isn't. I'm sure that at some point that will happen, though.
Yeah, I figure, you know, Kweli gets beats from everybody. I'm like, man,
Well, you know,
LP
I mean,
track.
I was doing something else.
Yeah.
I spent a lot of time really concentrating on producing the artists on Def Jux, and then I spent a lot of time making my record. I haven't made myself that available over the years to do that much.